Chairman Self, Ranking Member Keating, and distinguished members of the subcommittee, on behalf of Foundation for Defense of Democracies, thank you for the opportunity to testify. Turkey has made headlines since the Bashar al-Assad regime in Syria collapsed late last year. This is because Turkey is the power broker behind the new government led by the al-Qaeda affiliate known as Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS. Turkey's backing of al-Qaeda in Syria is not new. Since the Syrian civil war erupted in 2011, Turkey has supported several jihadi groups fighting the Assad regime. However, Assad didn't fall for 14 years, and that explains how the jihadi problem in Syria has grown worse. Ankara promotes HTS as a moderate entity. This is a farce. The violent history of HTS must not be ignored. The closest analog to this scenario, a designated terror group taking over an entire country, is the Taliban, and we know how that worked out for Afghanistan. Turkey also supports Hezbollah. Last month, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar revealed that Turkey is aiding Iran to smuggle funds to the Lebanese terror group. Last year, the U.S. imposed sanctions on a network in Turkey and Lebanon for funding the IRGC Quds Force and Hezbollah. Other Turkish-based entities have earned sanctions in recent years for similar reasons. Ankara is a leading patron of Hamas. For nearly 2 decades, Turkey has operated, openly backed, the terror group, providing political cover and financial support. In 2011, Palestinian sources alleged that Erdogan earmarked $300 million to Hamas. After the Gilad Shalit prisoner swap that year, scores of Hamas prisoners were deported to Turkey, including Saleh Arori, one of the group's most dangerous terrorist operatives. In 2014, Arori ordered the killing of 3 teens in the West Bank, sparking a major war with Hamas that year. The Erdogan government cheered Arori when he claimed credit for that attack. After Hamas slaughtered 1,200 Israelis on October 7th, Erdogan doubled down on his Hamas support. He welcomed Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh in Istanbul just before he was killed by Israel in July 2024. The two discussed relocating Hamas's political headquarters from Qatar to Turkey. To this day, Turkey is a hub for Hamas's global finances. Numerous U.S. sanctions designations underscore this trend. GYO, a Turkish construction conglomerate, was designated by the U.S. in 2022 for generating revenue for Hamas. That company is still active today, as are other firms that are funding Hamas in Turkey. In December, U.S. legislators received a classified briefing about Turkey and Hamas. I hope that one theme emerged, namely that Erdogan has invested nearly 20 years legitimizing, funding, and empowering Hamas. So why does Erdogan support these terror groups? Because he aspires to regional, if not global, domination. And he thinks that supporting these groups can help him. The collapse of the Assad regime and the rise of HTS was Erdogan's first major Middle East conquest, and he wants more. During the Arab Spring, Turkey backed Islamist factions vying for power as ossified Middle East regimes collapsed, one after the next. Egyptian, Libyan, and other Islamist groups all look to Ankara for political and financial support. Some still get Turkish backing, hoping to replicate the success of HTS. Erdogan's Hamas rhetoric is a very clear attempt to position himself as a leader in the Muslim world. His failed call for an Islamic war against Israel led to nothing, but it was a clear attempt to rally the Muslim world around the Turkish flag. I'm also concerned about Turkey's blue homeland policy of aggression. Tensions are currently rising in the Eastern Med, with Turkish vessels challenging Greek and Cypriot vessels, even in their own exclusive economic zones. The U.S. can no longer afford to ignore Turkish aggression. A policy shift is needed, and I offer these recommendations. The U.S. should maintain its modest military presence in Syria to counter Turkish aggression. The U.S. should block Turkish attempts to deploy military forces or contractors anywhere in the Middle East. The U.S. should expose and punish Ankara's policy of allowing jihadi fighters and terror financiers to use Turkey as a transit and logistics hub. The U.S. should pressure Ankara to sever all ties with Hamas, including shutting down its offices, extraditing known operatives, and revoking travel documents. Failure to do so should result in tough sanctions. The U.S. should closely monitor Turkish involvement in weapons smuggling with a focus on Syria's borders with Jordan and Lebanon. And finally, Congress should limit any major arms sale to Turkey until it stops supporting terrorism and destabilizing NATO. I offer additional recommendations in my written testimony. I hope this subcommittee considers all of them. On behalf of FDD, thank you for the opportunity to testify.